Grade 9, welcome to this quick tutorial guide taking you through the mock-up assessment piece that I created for you to do a better job on your first assessment of the year. My assessment is one part video, one part song that I composed for this piece based on the summer reading short story that you've recently completed. So before I get into that, I'd like to take you through my workflow a little bit and talk to you about the tools that I used in creating that piece. I used my handy Hero GoPro camera, one iPhone, and one iPad mini. You don't have to use these tools. I use them because I like technology, and I would encourage you for this assessment to use tools that you're comfortable with, to use your interests and your passions on this project. So let's look a little bit more in depth at my sample and see what worked, what could have been better, and how this might help you while you're working on your own. With any assessment piece in the MYP, it's so important that you start with the rubric first. Look at what this task is actually asking you to do. Remember, you're actually being assessed on your rationale. A rationale means that you need to be talking to us about the decisions that you've made in your creative work. In order to do that at a higher level, it's important that you show that your choices reflect thinking about the short story that you've selected. Once I've carefully considered the rubric and looked at the note-taking guide, now I'm ready to read my short story with a critical eye. I'm ready to make sure that my work will accurately reflect the setting, theme, and key motifs to the story. Let's take one more look at my example piece, and I'd like for you to look out for the ways that I've tried to demonstrate the key theme of coming of age. Are there any recurring motifs, and have I used any symbolism? Last but not least, in what way does the song that I've composed using GarageBand reflect the tone of the short story? Into the tunnel. Here are just a few of the key choices that I made when putting my work together. You can think about how analytical they would be had I added them to my written rationale. I wanted to take apart the metaphor of the dream that the boy has before he actually gets through his tunnel. I think that the dream works as a metaphor for his journey as he works to become more mature, become something more of an adult. And a dream goes through the nighttime, it goes from the dark to the light. It's perfectly okay to use footage that's not your own as long as you get to it through Creative Commons. You can do this on YouTube by, after your search, including comma and then Creative Commons as one word. Fair use is going to be very important in this course. You'll notice that in the opening sequence of my video, the sun is shining incredibly bright. It's working as a symbol of how the young boy is blinded by his own innocence when he first looks upon the shore. In that scene, I chose a Dreamy Filter to help convey the fog of innocence that the boy is under. You'll notice that in the next scene, I've actually used the SciFi Filter to make the boy's first attempt at getting to the tunnel seem very surreal. As change often seems to us very surreal, it's a very foreign thing to be going through. It's also important for me to talk about the decision to speed the clips up, to have things moving very quickly. That was my way of conveying the tense intensity of the boy under the water counting. When I was creating the song, I also wanted to make sure that I was selecting loops, which would create this layer of intensity. So when I was searching for loops on GarageBand, I used that filter in my search to look for intense melodic. In the song I composed, you also hear "Into the Tunnel" spoken twice. Now, I wanted to texture that sound of my voice with the monster option on GarageBand because the boy is hearing this calling in almost a monstrous way. I wanted to use this slow motion bird soaring as a symbol for the freedom that the boy experiences at the end of the story. Those of you with an iPhone 5 or 6 can video in slow motion as a feature of your camera. Now, I want to speak briefly about why I actually created two things, the song and the video. Why did I need two layers? Well, I think that any coming-of-age story has two layers. It has one layer that looks at innocence. It has another layer that looks at experience and what it means to actually leave your innocence behind, and how, like the boy in the Doris Lessing story, going through this tunnel of becoming a different version of yourself can actually be a shedding away of one layer and an adding on of another. So that's why I thought it was really important to layer my work with both visual and auditory work. Hopefully, this video tutorial has given you a glimpse at what is out there, above the horizon, ready for you to analyze, think about, and create and share. It's time for you to seek out the wilderness of your own imagination and go through a tunnel of your own. Good luck, grade 9.